So we are really excited to talk to everybody today about social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm Adam Jones. I'm a digital navigator with the Whitman County Library System.
And I'm Alyssa Mullins. I'm also a digital navigator with the Whitman County Library System. And so with today's webinar, our heart for today is we want to be able to help assist in educating what social media is, but also what the primary function is going to be for each platform, because they do kind of operate a little differently. And then we also want to help provide insight on how to use social media, because again, they all operate a little differently, and there's little tips and tricks that make each one work best for the user, and then just the different pitfalls that exist on each platform to avoid. And so at a glance, this is kind of what we're going to be going over today. We're going to go over what is social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and then a bunch of other platforms that exist out there.
Really, we begin to ask the question of what is social media? And it is commonly defined as websites and applications that enable users to create and share content with others, which is a really broad stroke definition of what they are. And there's a lot of things that can fit into this category. And even when we look at the specifications of what is considered a Web 2.0 technology versus a Web 3.0 technology, there's a lot there. But for social media, this is how the general definition has been. And there are a lot of platforms that have existed and failed. MySpace is sort of still around. It's a husk of its original self. Vine is gone. Zanga, I believe, is mostly gone. LiveJournal is still kind of there. Like, it's still a thing. Google has had many attempts into the social media space with varying success. Orkut was actually one of their most successful attempts that ran for years after acquisition. But it is something that is difficult to attain, to build the audience and those interfaces. And even as we look into the future, we really do see Discord and Twitch as general community builders, to be able to share and message and have content shared between everybody. Be Real is a newer platform where you can only share content once a day, which is kind of cool because you actually have to be really discerning of what is worth sharing. And I think they've been trying to answer that question. And I know Elon Musk is pushing for his Twitter 2.0 under his guidance and leadership. And so there's a lot of things changing in the atmosphere. And so we're really excited to see what happens next. So our first one up is in Facebook. And for us, it really is the white pages, yellow pages of the internet. It is a place for local community groups. There's a fantastic marketplace if you haven't already been using it. And in a lot of ways, it's replaced Craigslist. Craigslist used to have a lot of listings. It used to have a lot of social interactions, and even personal ads. There was just a lot in there. And Facebook has been able to kind of take the stage a little bit because of their, you're able to have a digital identity within the system. And having that really makes it verifiable, easy access. You're able to connect with friends and family that may not be nearby, but then you're able to find them too. But then you can also catalog life events. Like for us, we actually have in our family a lot of scrapbooking, lots of scrapbooking stuff, but it's hard to find the time to do it. But then I also want to be able to do it with my kids. But then as I've gotten older, I'm like, wow, okay, well, when did we do that? When was that trip? When was this? And so Facebook does provide a fascinating cataloging of life events, where you've worked, where you've been, what trips have done, what photos. And it provides this catalog that is just a wonderful resource for the family. And it's also the one-stop shop for content, whether it's for content for your local or national or news or politics, etc., even local emergency information. They're having it in the platform, and they're even pushing for journalist verifications to be able to provide more active, more engaging content on a regular basis. The problem with that, though, is they are constantly changing, and this is where we kind of get into the bad category. It does make it difficult for the average user on a day-to-day basis find what works, what they like, and how to enjoy the platform. And that's for your general end-use consumer. For the content creators and page managers, they are changing that platform all the time. And even within 1 to 3 month cycles, they do change the back end of the website. So then it does make it difficult for us to have to always relearn what that next step is. The other thing that they do is they do have a lot of tracking. And it's a little bit different tracking than most others because they have a way to see the traffic of everywhere else you've been on the internet and then provide lots of advertisements injected into your feed on that regular basis. Sorry about that. And then there are scammers in the platform. That has been a regular thing where they may try to trick you or do other things. And we've gone over other presentations talking about scams, spams, and phishing attempts. If you haven't watched that video, go check it out on our YouTube. There's a lot going on, and Facebook is a primary hub. Now, when we look at Facebook and kind of the not so great parts, the real ugly parts, is there can be a lot of drama. We've all seen the people that just go off on a rant. The cool thing is you can just hide that and move on with your life. I do highly recommend that. We've seen over the last 6 to 8 years, politics drama tends to kind of drive it. But then also, depending on your demographics, we have seen a small increase in pornographic advertising within the platform. Now, these are against the terms of service, the terms of use within Facebook, but people still try to get it in and push it through. The other thing to be aware of is, even if there's content that you don't like, there's new things within the Facebook algorithm where if you're scrolling, oh, that caught my eye, oh, I don't like that. You scrolled up to did I really see that? And then you keep scrolling. The hard part is Facebook sees that as a valuable engagement where you were scrolling and you stopped and you went back to look. So even though that was content that you may not have liked or enjoyed or agreed with, they thought that interaction was positive, and so then they're going to feed you more of that content as time goes on. The other part is curated posts from friends, and I'll let Alyssa explain this part.
Yeah, so part of the curated posts from friends is going to be where a friend or a family member that you have as a friend on Facebook, they may share content publicly that maybe just isn't something that resonates with you or is also inappropriate. And if they share it publicly, it can show up on your feed as well because it'll say so-and-so shared this post. And that bottom third image is kind of an example. I had to censor out some information because it was a real person, but it's a post was shared by someone, and it was a funny post that I have here, but if it was inappropriate, it could pop up on your feed, and it's not even that you are searching for it, but because someone you follow and associate with on the platform has shared content like that, it is now on your feed, and then it kind of goes back into that, did you scroll back? Oh, if you're looking at the content too long, now you're going to get more things similar to it because you showed interest in it. And then from there, we're actually going to shift to talking about Instagram a little bit and going over what it is. And so part of it is that it's the inspiration for creative platforms that kind of come to follow. So things like TikTok, Snapchat, so on and so forth, and everything like that. And Instagram has kind of become that place where you show your life in photos and videos and really only the exciting parts of your life. And I'm going to go ahead and swap over to the Instagram really quick and just give a quick overview of what you see at a glance. So when you first initially open up the app, this is going to be your main feed. So up on the top row here, you'll see the different stories, and these disappear after 24 hours. And this is just a feed generated by sponsored posts, but also people that you follow. So anything that someone posts, you'll see here, and you'll get to kind of see what things people are doing, content, Easter-themed content, And then this is your search. And so in the search bar, you actually get a lot of different trending content that's usually going to be relevant to things that you have searched before. So, like iced coffee is something we've probably searched on this account before, and branding inspiration and things like that. But you'll see a lot of just trending content, meme content, even. And then if we go here, this is where you can actually build a post. And this is going to be your Reels feed. And so in the Reels feed, it's Instagram short form video. I can't pause it, but it's going to be Instagram short form video feed. So where there's not really any photos generated, it's all short videos, very, very similar to TikTok. And then over here, you'll actually see your own profile. And so you can see the things that you've posted, and then also the things that you are tagged in. So other people that may know your username or follow you, or if you took a photo or video with someone and you're tagged, this is where that would show up. And so that's just the platform at a glance, but I'm gonna swap back over to our presentation. And so some of the good things about Instagram is that it is another way to connect with friends and family. And you do get some really good, like, high quality content. Even in some of the screenshots I have here, you get some like educational how to do this, or like make a simple meal with me kind of content. Or even like if I'm traveling, here are like the top 5 places that you need to go when you're traveling here or there, or, even like in your area as well. It doesn't have to always deal with travel. And then you also get some really good like social media tips and tricks. So if you're trying to look for ways to enhance your social media personally or for your business, you can actually find a lot of that content that can help you get quick advice on how to do that. Some other good things is that the Instagram feed does curate to you better than a lot of the other platforms that are out there. And so these are some screenshots from the Pullman marketing feed, but then also from my own personal one, right? So in the Pullman marketing one, you have a lot of branding, ideas, creativity, things like that. And then on my personal one, you have food, coffee, and makeup. And that's a little glimpse into the things that I'm interested in, very generally, but Instagram does a really good job at curating that for you. And their content filter is better than Facebook and even better than like TikTok and some other platforms. And Instagram does have a subscriptions thing, where as a creator, you can actually have a subscription thing, so then you can make money that way as a content creator. And so that is something that's offered on the platform alongside everything else that they have. Some of the like not so good things that exist on Instagram is going to be that there's drama anywhere you go. You can find mostly creator and influencer drama because since Instagram is a really big like creative platform, you will see a lot of different influencer drama that pops up, and cancel culture becomes very big on Instagram. And because of that, a lot of the teens today in today's world will actually trust influencers more than other celebrities. So then if they're seeing like the influencer drama, well, not only are they going to pick sides, but then that kind of helps dictate a lot of decision makings and things like that. But Instagram also does give a false perception of life. I can promise that this person that you're following might not be at the beach every day. They might be, but it's also possible that that's the same beach that they went to 3 weeks ago, and they're still posting that photo because they miss it. So you don't always see what goes on behind the scenes. And not that you need to, but it is something to take note of, which is that not everyone's life isn't really all that glamorous. And so, but Instagram, people really only show the glamour on that platform. And even then, like something as simple as our desks and our workspaces aren't always as clean as they seem on Instagram. They might be clean for that moment, and then it might go away, which does happen. And then some of the ugly for Instagram is that if you do look hard enough, you can find inappropriate content for people under the age of 18. And creators have found ways around that by being like explicit in their content, but still having it covered enough to where it gets by a lot of the restrictions that the platform has. And so because of that, you do end up seeing a lot of predators and things like that just on and around the platform. This is an example. This is a nightclub that also has dancers involved, and this is a profile that does exist on Instagram, and this is one of many that exist, but you do have to like search and find it. But yeah. And so moving on to Snapchat. Snapchat is going to be a private photo sharing app, but it is also seen as another way to instant message or text your friends or family. And it's also seen as more fun because of the different features that they do offer. And it's, according to Snapchat, it is also the fastest way to share a moment. And so we'll go ahead and take a quick look at Snapchat. So right when you open up the app, you are brought to the main part of it, which is the camera, where you can take a photo or a video. As I swipe through, you can see the different filters and everything that's available. You can add things like music and other features to it. And we just got a snap from Adam. So let's go ahead and open it. And as you can see, he did that in a matter of seconds while I was just introducing everything. And it's just a quick app. This little notification here is actually pretty helpful because you can see, like, with Adam being the one that sent it, he can see, oh, this account took a screen recording of it. So even though they're private photos that disappear after 5-10 seconds, you know, someone can still take a screenshot. You'll get notified, but now we have that screenshot or screen recording of it, and now that photo that you sent does exist in someone else's hands. And so it's not all private, it's not all secure in that way. But this is going to be the like chat section where you can kind of see who sent you things, and because this account doesn't really get that many things, you do get suggested friends to add. And then if we go here, which we'll talk about this in more depth as I go back to the PowerPoint, but this is going to be one of the more sensitive topics when it comes to Snapchat, and this is the live snap map, where this account, you see the little ghost over it, our location is not made public. However, well, we don't have any friends on here, actually, so we wouldn't see it. But if you had more friends on the Snap Map and their location is made public, you can actually see where they are. And you can share your location to just your friends and things like that. But that is something that is made available. And then if you look a little closer, you'll see these different hot spots. So the little bits of blue and even like the different locations. And so if I were to click, it keeps going away. There we go. So I'll click over here, and now you can see a story that someone has made public to, you know, to whoever opens up the Snap Map in this area. And I can do that anywhere in the world. It's not limited to Pullman. It doesn't have a specific radius. I could go all the way to New York or to Japan, China, or Hawaii and see whatever is in that hot spot. And so those stories are made public for anyone to see. And I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. All right. So even with all of that, I'm going to talk about some of the good. And so it does, Snapchat does make group chats a lot easier than doing texting between iOS and Android, which basically means no green bubbles, which is more of an iOS issue than an Android one, but it's not fun. And so it does help eliminate that. It makes things easier. And it's easier to send photos back and forth without losing the quality, because sometimes if an iPhone sends something to an Android phone, well, sometimes you lose quality in the image or video. And so Snapchat does help keep that quality, which is really nice. It's been nice to be able to share things back and forth with friends and keep the photo looking good. There is a 24-hour disappearing messages feature, unless you have that setting turned off, which is a mix of a good and a bad. It's kind of hit or miss. So you can either choose to keep track of the conversation or not, but there's usually about a 24-hour time period before the messages disappear. And then read receipts. And so you can tell if someone has opened your message, taken a screenshot, or has just kind of never opened it before and it's been 12 weeks. And, then you can see maybe they're not active anymore and maybe I should give them a call instead. And so some more of the good is that there are multiple options for stories, which it is a little bit of a good and bad, I will say that. But on the good side, you can make public stories. So if you're an influencer and you do go out to a fun restaurant, then you can have a public story as an influencer and then have a friends only story that, you really only want your friends and family to see. It is also another fun way to take photos and videos that's not super complicated. You don't got to go into Photoshop or Canva and things like that to add these fun filters over your photos. Snapchat has those built in, it's fun and it's nice and it's like a little bit of creativity in some of the stuff that you do. So it's really fun. But then we go to the bad. And again, stories, private curated stories, I can pick and choose, like in this custom privacy photo right here, you can pick and choose who sees your story. And even on the left-hand side, you can have everyone see your story, just my friends, or make it custom. And so you can have things where maybe just family's blocked from my story when I go hang out with my friends at night. Or maybe I just have mom and dad blocked, right? And so, not speaking from any experience at all. But, and so there are some weird things that do make it a little harder to make sure that, as a parent, maybe that your kids are being safe on the platform and things like that. But then there's also a hidden photos section that is locked by a 4-digit PIN. And so it's in the camera roll section and it'll say my eyes only and it's locked by a PIN. And so the only person that can open it is the person that knows the PIN. And so you can hide any kinds of photos or videos in there and only the account would be able to access it. But, it does exist. The other side is that even though the filters are fun, like the Shrek one up there, and everyone, I think, has an idea of the dog filter with the cute little dog ears, it can create a false sense of self where now I don't like how I look in photos without a filter. And that's something personally I've experienced. It's like, oh, I wish my makeup looked like how that filter made it look. That was so nice. Or my skin was as smooth. And so it can do that. It has the potential for that. And so it's just something to be aware of. But there is also there's not as much access to the different content creator features as opposed to things like Facebook and Instagram and even TikTok. And so if you're looking to be a content creator, Snapchat might not be the first platform that you use for that. And then again, the location map. This is screenshots from actually my personal Snapchat, so I have some things blocked out. But this is a screenshot of the location map where I can see out of all of my friends who has their location turned on and where in the world they are. Just by opening the app. Yeah, no, it's horrifying. As you can see, I have the ghost over myself because no one needs to know where I am. That's scary. But, so with that in mind, for your personal Snapchat or for your children's Snapchat, do encourage them to have their location turned off as a safety feature. Because again, if it's public to everyone, it's public to everyone. And it's not the most accurate, but it does a pretty good job.
It's pretty accurate.
It's got it pretty good, Maybe it might be off by a block. And even then, so just being mindful of that. And then also with Snapchat's various features, you can send private content to people and choose the people you send it to, which can make it harder to trace. Not impossible, but it's just that option is available to people who have Snapchat. And the ad platform does use Experian data, which I'll let you explain.
And our part of it is the ad platform. This is kind of an ugly side, but as advertisers love this function of Snapchat where there is a pairing of the Experian data for your credit reports, your taxes, your credit cards. All that information is in a form loaded into the platform. And then even though you may have your location map data turned off, Snapchat will still track everywhere that you go. And so there are ways for advertisers to say, hey, the person who, makes between $40,000 and $80,000 a year, regularly goes to the hardware store at least 5 times a week, recently married or recently divorced, etc. It knows all of those things. It's able to know who you are, what you're doing, and how to target you based upon matching the Experian data with your location data. Among other things that it is tracking, because it will track your content that you're watching, things that you're checking on, and even how much you're engaging in the platform itself. Yeah. So there is some pretty major privacy concerns in that regard, yet all these privacy concerns are relatively legal.
Yeah. So, turn off your location. I don't know, maybe. But so that's Snapchat, and now we're going to get into TikTok. And I mean, TikTok was set up to make music and sound videos with friends, which, it does. And then it's also a short form video content platform. It has extended the meaning of short form over the years that TikTok has been active, where it's gone from, I think, 15, 30 seconds to up to 3 minutes. And I also like to call it what Vine should have been. I do miss Vine. Those were good times. It was good times. And so let's go ahead and take a look at TikTok. TikTok, this is going to be your profile feed where you can see the different videos you've posted. This is kind of like that hidden video section where for us, we've used it for testing out content ideas and testing out the different transition features and things like that. Then one more over, this is your saved or your favorite video section where, for me, I use it for when I want to remember how to make a recipe that I'm never going to get back to, or different life hacks and things like that. So that's where a lot of the saved stuff exists. But then you can also have your overall liked video section where if you just like a video, like this video of beef?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Or something about Excel, which I don't know why that video is liked, but it's fine.
I love Excel. So, and that's, I will say, one of the good parts is there is a lot of learning that can be done inside of TikTok, whether it is how to properly detail a car, clean around the house. There's a lot of Excel calculator videos. I like those. Or even PowerPoint tricks, or even just general day-to-day life hacks. There is a lot of learning content available, but you have to search for it.
Yeah. And again, the feed. So when you're looking at a TikTok feed, you can look at kind of the things that are trending. And since it's playing the audio, I'm not going to do that. But you can look at what videos are trending that's relevant to you. It does curate decently to the things that you're interested in. Or you can look at only the people that you follow and the things that they've posted, which is really nice. And so Adam did mention it earlier, but the good on it is that there is good educational content out there. If you look at the screenshot, there's how to change a tire. That's something that people would search in either YouTube or in TikTok, and you can find it in both areas now, which I think is great. There's also simple recipes, different workouts, and everything like that available with searching on TikTok, or if you're like me, it does just kind of pop up on your feed because you've curated it to that. And again, you can find fun things to do in your area or when you travel, or good places to eat in your area or when you travel.
And it does track where you're going. So your TikTok feed in Pullman is going to be different than the one that's in Moscow versus Spokane versus Seattle versus anywhere else that you may travel to. It does actually localize your content quite a bit.
That is correct. I'll get a lot of Spokane stuff when I'm in Spokane, and then like for like half a day after I've left. But and some of the other good things is the subscriber feed. Like I mentioned, you can see content from the people that you're only following, or discover feed where you can just see a whole range of content, new people to maybe follow, and some from people that you followed. It's usually like the trending videos typically. And TikTok does have deep sub communities, very similar to how Facebook has groups almost, where it's like, oh, I like cleaning or I like doing this. I'm going to join this group. So TikTok has hashtag clean talk or food talk or travel talk. And I mean, if you search it, you can get a bunch of videos on different cleaning hacks that people have, and it floods your feed, and it's kind of great because then you can get great ideas on how to clean different things, which I enjoy. And there's also meme content. A good meme, a good meme's fun every now and then. And TikTok also does have video content that provides like social media tips and tricks and advice to like grow a business sometimes. Again, it is stuff that you not only need to search for, but also make sure that you kind of curate your feed to go in that direction if that's content that you're looking for. There's life hacks that actually work and also life hacks that don't. But they're also just sometimes really fun to watch, which, I mean, TikTok is good because it allows for that fun content creation and lets people be very creative. There are like transition videos where people just do amazing things, and TikTok does allow for people to explore that area of creativity, and so it's really, really good for that. Some of the bad things about TikTok, like the algorithm is pretty good. And so because of that, it's easy to get hypnotized. This is a screenshot from maybe my own phone. When it came to overall consumption of TikTok, daily average is 45 minutes, which I would say is okay. Maybe. It depends. But right, so it's one of those things where like you can start scrolling on TikTok and then next thing you know it's midnight and you're like, the sun was up, what happened? And that's what the platform does. It has the ability to just kind of pull you in and keep you there because it's just constant consumption of content.
Yeah, and part of that too is, and one of the reasons it's been in the news quite a bit, is that it is designed to suck people in, to hypnotize them, and increase that engagement. When a platform is able to keep its users inside the platform longer, it's able to provide more advertising, which means that it can be monetized more. So it is incentivized in providing you content that keeps you there. One of the things that it'll do, especially if you start decreasing your TikTok usage, is that the next time you open it, it will actually give you a whole new set of content that you may not have explored before. And it will keep doing that until it finds a set of content that will keep you engaged in the platform. And that's just one of the tricks. There's a lot in the algorithm that it works really hard to keep you there. And we have noticed decreased attention spans. And we've even seen this relative in Facebook as well. Yeah. Even for your 18 to 25-year-old demographics, they'll spend up to an hour inside of Facebook. But they do it in spurts. Where they may say, oh, hey, wow, I wonder if something's for sale. I want to check. They'll search, nothing, close the app. Yeah. They'll hang out, they'll wait for a couple minutes, open up Facebook, scroll, check, close it out. Even though a 18 to 25-year-old may say, yeah, I don't use Facebook, it's kind of trash, it's there. There's actual usage trends that we have seen that have adjusted because of so much TikTok. And that being said, even the owners have said that TikTok really isn't a social media platform. And remember, we started with a very broad definition of what social media is, but even the creators are saying that, it really isn't. We're more like YouTube. And it's meant more for that content consumption instead of sharing that content. And we've even noticed trends among other users is that they'll share TikToks in Facebook Messenger or in Instagram DMs or just normal text messages instead of actually using the TikTok direct message system. So is it a platform for social media? Yes and no. Currently, the data is accessible by overseas entities, and that is something that the government is working through right now. So we'll see what they end up doing.
And then another bad section of TikTok, which, oh man, is that there is room for drama. Again, there are just people with opinions, and they're using TikTok and other social media platforms to express them. But on TikTok, it is easier to get caught up in it. Are you Team Selena or Team Haley? I don't know. Do you follow that? I don't know. It's been all over my feed. So that's all that I've seen on TikTok. And then there are careless and dangerous trends that have come up. So, I mean, just as a note, please don't eat Tide Pods. I know that started on Instagram, but, please just don't eat Tide Pods. Don't steal any bathroom appliances from your school or workplace. It's not worth the effort. Don't bark at your dog.
It's been a trend.
Please don't. Or, don't break into Kias or any other cars for that matter, just as a general guideline. And please do not climb milk crates. It is dangerous. But that's the thing, is TikTok has influenced a lot of these different dangerous trends to come up because people want to see if they can do it, or someone had an idea, recorded it, and then other people saw it and were like, I can do that, and then it just kind of just domino effect from there. And so TikTok is one of the platforms that does have trends just spread like wildfire, and not all trends are good trends, like climbing milk crates. And even this, I tried to get a good screenshot of the milk crate challenge, and I had this come up where it won't even let me see content like that, which was fascinating. I don't normally search up the dangerous trends, but the fact that I got that pop-up means that TikTok is trying, for one, which is great. But also, these kinds of things exist, and it is something to be aware of. And then the ugly. I mean, inappropriate content does exist on TikTok, especially in the beginning stages of it being up there. It was hard to not see something where, it was just it was inappropriate. It wasn't something that you wanted to see on your feed. You maybe just wanted to watch Gordon Ramsay react to people cooking. And instead you got a bunch of different dance trends, and it happens. And so the thing is, with that inappropriate content, just like Instagram and Facebook, you do need to search for it, right? But once you find it and you watch it, your feed is going to be flooded with it, because the algorithm is going to think, oh, you're interested in stuff like this, okay, and just show you all the different content creators that make content similar to that. And so then your feed is crowded with it. And so because of that does leave room for things like predators, but also bullying and other negativity. And granted, these screenshots it's Gordon Ramsay and Uncle Roger, and so they bring some humor to it, but TikTok does give you the option to actually reply to a person's videos and respond in almost whatever way you feel like responding. And so you can post just a kind video, and then someone can respond and bully or be very negative. And then that gets shown publicly. It just gets shown to other viewers and users, and it's not always the most positive experience. It can be, we can bring humor to it. But it leaves room for that. And so that's something, again, just to be aware of with TikTok as a platform.
So that was a lot, and there's still more. So when we look at social media, like I said, we start with a pretty open door explanation, wide open definition, and there are other platforms to be aware of that we won't have the time to go through every single one of them today. But Nextdoor is one that is going through the neighborhoods, which is Nextdoor, and it provides you an experience to be able to communicate with your neighbors and your local community, see what's happening and going on. It does rely on active users being in the platform within your area, but it is a way to mostly gossip about your neighbors. But also say, hey, did you know there was a porcupine on your street this week? I didn't. I reported it. Or, hey, so-and-so's car was broken into on whatever street. Oh, I need to probably lock my doors. It's been a very interesting platform to see and experience. They haven't quite figured out their monetization, but it is one that's growing and is one that's kind of fun and maybe worth looking into. LinkedIn, of course, we know is a fairly large platform, is now owned by Microsoft. And there's a lot of learning, a lot of professionalism, and it is a good platform for just sharing content, finding work, and having that professional resume. Reddit has been around for a long time, and it is the internet's message boards /forum/bulletin/news front page. There's a lot of slashes when it comes to Reddit. Pinterest, of course. Pinterest is a hard one for me to consider social because you're usually there to just find inspiration photos.
Yeah.
And if you did find something, you'll probably text it to your friend. You're not actually like DMing people. Oh my gosh, have you seen this? Check it out. But these platforms do exist. WhatsApp is also owned by the Meta company, more of a direct messaging platform. Twitter, we'll see what happens. And YouTube is considered a social media platform. They've implemented a new posting system that people are actually using, which we were, as advertisers, surprised to see that happen. But it's been working. And that's the cool thing is there's even more platforms than this. Mm-hmm. But it always depends who's using what and is it the right timing and who's on board. Mm-hmm. And as always, there's always going to be things to look out for, like scams, hackers, predators, identity theft. It's always going to happen. And just the way with white pages, you get a phone call. Hey, this is your son. I'm in a prison in Mexico. Please send money. Probably a scam. And that is what I just said is a common scam that does go around and float around. Just like your mail, your phone, this is another outlet for that to occur. Mm-hmm. And there are going to be predators. There are going to be people that are going to direct message inappropriate things if you do not have all of your privacy settings set up to the max. Mm-hmm. And even past that, there are sometimes, I think this happens more in Facebook than other platforms, where people will create accounts and pretend to be you. And then try and friend all of your friends and get into the community and ask for money or ask for help or ask for this or that. Hey, just Venmo me. These things do occur and they are reported. They do happen. We do recommend to be watchful of what you click on. There are times where you may click on something that'll say, hey, please connect me with your Facebook account. We really recommend do not do that. Even if it is something that seems to be fairly legitimate, odds are it might not be. And once they gain access to it, they can then direct message everyone in your list saying, oh, hey, my account got hacked. Click here to report it. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of perpetuates the system. So our best practices that we do recommend is to protect your profiles, enable the privacy settings. Do take the time to interact and engage with it, especially within Facebook and Instagram. After the Cambridge Analytica event, they put in wild amounts of privacy control so that you're able to say, don't share this information. Don't even show other people that I exist, even if you search for them. There's ways to really protect yourself. And we do recommend only add people and friends that you do want involved in your life. And that's kind of like a general privacy thing, a security thing, but then also drama and toxicity. You know, if you don't know these people, don't invite them in. Take the time to understand what each social media platform is for as well. You know, we talked about Facebook with the marketplace and the groups. Those are wonderful. Engage in that. If you just want to post beautiful pictures, stay in Instagram. If you want to just consume content or begin making content for your own in a really accessible way, hop into TikTok. These platforms are really wonderful. They can be a lot of fun and a good tool, especially for creativity. Mm-hmm. But we do recommend only using the ones that are most relevant to you or to your interests, just because it can be overwhelming and consuming in your day-to-day life. The other thing to keep in mind is it's not great to mix and match, right? Like if you are trying to find a long last fraternity brother from a long time ago, TikTok might not be the right platform. Also, you might be posting or creating content that works really well on Twitter, but might not work over in TikTok. Right? It's good to be aware of what platforms are good for each thing and develop those appropriate relationships with the platform. And do monitor the amount of time. Time is one of our most valuable assets. It's something that we cannot get. So do be aware of that. But also have fun. Try creating content instead of just consuming content. And I'm probably guilty of this quite a bit where I don't get to create a lot of content, but I love it when I do. When I'm able to write a story inside of LinkedIn or be able to just take some time and work on some thoughts for TikTok. I actually really enjoy making the content, and it's just fun. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's fun. And people on TikTok for trying out that content, they get to you'll just see someone set up their phone and say, "Okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, but," and then they'll just start talking, and sometimes that's one of the best performing videos, and it like starts trending and everyone's like, "Oh my goodness, you need to like watch this person's video. It's super relevant," or whatever it is like that. So, it doesn't have to always be a scary place to be on, to exist, and to try, because it can be fun. I have fun on Instagram and trying different things whenever I see a try this like story hack, and I go and I try. I'm like, oh, that's super easy. I'm gonna use it for the next like week.
And we do recommend if you do have young children or others that may be using the platforms, do download apps like Bark.us. It's a platform that watches and monitors, not just for filtering content, but then also checks and watches out for cyberbullying or other things that may be getting the young ones in trouble. We have a whole video on that. Go check out our YouTube, but it is something to consider. Lastly, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. If you found this information helpful, please go ahead and throw something in the description or in the comments down below. We do have a digital navigator hotline, so after this video, if you have any questions, call the hotline, send a message. You can find all those resources at the Whitman County Library website. We are so excited to help and standing by. Thank you all and have a wonderful afternoon.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.